in a church's conference room shows Phil Hartman, John Belushi, Norm Macdonald, Gilda Radner, and Jan Hooks all sitting in chairs in a circle, all wearing blackface. Hartman: thank you all for coming to our first meeting of the Blackface Safe Space. Chris Farley opens the door, enters the room, and says, hey, sorry I'm late, but, oh boy, looks like I'm in the wrong neighborhood. Belushi: why do you think you're in the wrong neighborhood? Farley looks around at all the people in blackface and says, no reason. Hartman: friend, we're not actually black. This is merely a safe space for people who like to wear blackface. Farley: oh, okay, well, I'm looking for the AA meeting. Hartman: that's down the hall to your left. Farley: okay, well, good luck with your blackface safe space. As Farley leaves, Hartman stands up and says, as you all know, I have created this meeting as a safe space for people who like to wear blackface. We needed a safe space because some people out there think it's, quote, racist to don our favorite facial color. And we needed somewhere to convene where we wouldn't be triggered by those R-word accusations. I will start the meeting by saying that I first began wearing blackface 5 years ago after my first viewing of Sir Laurence Olivier in Othello. Once I tried blackface on for myself and looked in the mirror, I couldn't help but fall in love with it. I felt like before that moment that I had been living a lie, and I was always meant to wear blackface. However, when I decided to wear it to the office, I was immediately fired for racism. Since then, I've poured all my energy into starting a safe space for all of us who need to wear blackface. Hartman turns to Radner and says, now why don't we go around the room and explain what brought each of you here? How about you, miss? What's your story? Radner stands up and says, my name's Gladys. I was diagnosed with a very rare skin disease called epidermia bullshitia, which makes my skin extremely sensitive to sunlight and can be fatal if not properly treated. I went to every doctor you could imagine with no results until one day I was referred to a mysterious shaman who specialized in natural remedies. I saw this shaman, Dr. Balderdash, and he told me that the only thing that would save my life would be if I wore blackface. And it worked like a miracle. I lost my husband, my family, my career, all because no one wanted to be associated with someone wearing blackface. But at least I know that I will survive epidermia bullshitia, and now I've found all of you, my safe space for my wearing of blackface. As Radner sits down, Hartman says, very good, Gladys. Thank you for sharing. Hartman looks at Hooks and says, how about you, ma'am? Hooks stands up and says, hi, I'm Mary, and my situation as to why I wear blackface is kind of weird. I'm really into black guys, but not black guys who like white girls, only black guys who like black girls, which made it kind of tough for me as a white girl to find love. But once I started to wear blackface, I started to get all the black guys that only like black girls that I could handle. Sometimes they get upset when they find out I'm white, but that just motivates me to put on the blackface more effectively so I don't get caught. And now I finally found the man of my dreams in Tyrone. And I'm just so happy to have found a safe space where I won't be labeled a racist for drawing in the men I want. As Hook sits back down, Hartman says, very good, Mary. Thank you for sharing. Hartman looks at Belushi and says, how about you, sir? Belushi stands up and says, hi, I'm Bob. A couple years ago, I decided to dress up as early 80s Michael Jackson for Halloween while I brought my kids trick-or-treating. It's really been tough on my kids since the divorce, so in order to impress them, I really wanted to look like early 80s Michael Jackson, back when he still had black skin. So I covered myself in blackface. And boy, were my kids excited. It was the proudest they had ever been of me. Granted, none of the houses would give them any candy because of how I looked, and eventually the police were called, and the case went to court, with me trying to fight for the right of divorced fathers to impress their kids with blackface on Halloween. However, I was unsuccessful, is my kid's new stepfather was the judge and sends me to jail. I wore blackface in protest the whole time I was locked up. Needless to say, I wasn't very popular in there. Well, actually, my ass was pretty popular, come to think of it. But anyway, despite my sore ass, I still wear blackface every day, and I'm so happy to have found this safe space for my black face. As Belushi sits back down, Hartman says, "Very good, Bob." Hartman looks at McDonald and says, "Okay, sir, how about you?" McDonald stands up and says, "Me? Oh, I'm just racist." Hartman, "Excuse me?" McDonald, "Yep. I don't have some crazy excuse like all of you, you know. I just want to offend black people. I get up every morning and say to myself, how can I offend black people today? And I feel like wearing blackface every day helps me accomplish that goal. And now I have a whole group who shares in my racism." As McDonald sits back down, Hartman says, "I don't think the rest of us are actually racist. We have alternative reasons for needing to wear blackface." McDonald shrugs and says, "Whatever you say. As long as this is a safe space for me, that's all I care about." There's a knock on the door. Hartman, "Oh, that must be the pizza." As Hartman opens the door, shows Denitra Vance as a pizza delivery woman who says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what the hell is going on in here?" Hartman, "Oh, don't mind us. This is just a blackface safe space." Vance, "Oh, hell no. I'm going to be coming back with some brothers and we're going to tear this shit up." Radner screams, "I've been triggered!" As Vance leaves, Hartman locks the door behind her and says, "See, this is exactly why we need a blackface safe space, so we don't get triggered. And dead from the earth, we're not alive." It's Saturday Night Alive, starring John Belushi, Chris Farley, Phil Hartman, Jen Hooks, Norm MacDonald, Gilda Radner, Denitra Vance, and with many other special deceased contributors. Musical guest, Steve Lawrence, and your host, George McGovern. Everybody, George McGovern. Applause, applause, applause. Shows McGovern on stage who says, "Thank you, thank you. I was an American historian and South Dakota politician who was a U.S. representative and three-term U.S. senator, and the Democratic Party presidential nominee in the 1972 presidential election." Applause, applause, applause. McGovern. "And in its 9th season, I hosted Saturday Night Live. In my monologue, I made jokes at my expense about how I needed money. Now that I'm dead, those jokes don't have the same effect, so instead I thought I'd try my hand at some new jokes. I fought in World War II in the United States Air Force, flying 35 missions over enemy territory. In hindsight, it was a mistake to not focus on that during my 1972 campaign. On the other hand, it was smart of Donald Trump to downplay his phony medical deferment from Vietnam during his presidential campaigns. So he's got me there. But you would think with all of his bravado, Trump would have loved to have fought in a war. After all, he almost started a civil war on January 6th. When Trump lost the 2020 election, he claimed the results were rigged. I briefly thought of trying the same thing when I lost in 72. But with less than 4% of the electoral vote, I don't think anybody would have showed up for my version of January 6th. Anyway, it's true that I got creamed in the 72 election. But I sincerely thank all those who voted for me. My main focus was to forge peace in Vietnam. And as I see war waging today in Ukraine, the Middle East, and an ideological cold civil war in America, I hope there are others in America and around the world who place bringing peace to the world above all other concerns. Applause, applause, applause. McGovern. We have a great show tonight. Steve Lawrence of Steve and Edie fame is here, so get ready because this could be the start of something big. We'll be right back.